Well, hello, Horror Nights in family. It has been, I think, a month since I've uploaded on this channel. And I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who has been engaging my community posts, because I get your guys' feedback because I appreciate it and it means a lot to me. And you guys said that you wanted longer videos and you're okay with longer videos, which I'm really excited about. And things are going to be a little bit different this time because I really want to take my time with these uploads and make sure that I'm doing a lot of research and to really sit and think about what I'm putting on this channel. So it has definitely been some time since I sat down on this channel and talked about horror movies. And with it being very cold and very snowy now here on the East Coast, I figured, why not now? And also, we are getting a brand new Scream next week. So I'm not sure if there is a better time to do this, so we're gonna do it now. So for a really long time, I've always been driven by the comfort that I have for horror movies. It feels like home when I sit down and I watch a horror movie. And a lot of you guys have asked me what my favorite horror movie has been through the years, and as you can tell from the title, it's Scream.
Hello?
Hello?
Who is this?
Tell me your name, I'll tell you mine.
I don't think so.
What's that noise?
Popcorn.
You making popcorn?
Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
Oh, just some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
You never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
Someone is playing a deadly game.
It all began with a scream over 911.
Someone who's seen one too many scary movies. Now he's taken his love of fear
Hello?
Hello, Sydney.
one step too far.
Do you like scary movies?
What's the point? They're all the same. Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act. She's always running up the stairs when she should be going out the front door. It's insulting.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a scary movie. Number one, you can never have sex. Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back. Give me another beer, you want one? Yeah, sure. I'll be right back.
He made the rules.
The police are always on track when they watch Prom Night at St. Time.
He just kills by them. Don't answer the phone. Don't open the door. Don't try to hide.
Everybody, let's back.
Not scared, are you?
So now that I have your attention, let's talk about it. Without doing the normal ratings and reviews, cast members and directors, because you guys are smart and already know the answers to that, I want to tell you why Scream is the best damn horror movie that's ever been made. Set in the suburban town of Woodsboro, we have our group of friends who may just be like you and me in high school. We have Casey, the very super beautiful, popular girl next door, who also happens to be the ex-girlfriend of Stu Macher. Casey was also a very big horror movie fan, and her favorite horror movie was Halloween. Speaking of Stu, she dumped him for Steve Orth. A little revenge considering her death and his death? Maybe. I feel like that theory has been speculated on a lot, and we have to assume that is why Stu decided to present the idea of killing Casey and Steve. And if we talk about Stu, then we have to talk about Billy Loomis. Two best friends who decided to go on a killing spree together. What I think is really scary about Billy Loomis is that he really had no idea what reality was versus fiction. And in my opinion, he was kind of the first, yet the last person that we would assume would be behind the mask of Ghostface. Because yes, this is a horror movie, but it very much is a whodunit. So after Stu gets dumped by Casey, he starts dating Tatum Riley, who happens also to be a very pretty popular girl at Woodsboro High School. And her best friend is Sydney Prescott, who is in the center of this very sticky, messy spiderweb. An innocent yet very badass final girl who is still reprising her role after all of these years. Now, as I said, this video isn't me sitting here telling you about the characters and the plot of Scream, because as I said, you guys already know all this, but I wanted to give a little bit of an intro. The first time that I watched Scream, it really didn't take that long for it to sink its knife into me, and it's been stuck ever since. I mean, look around me. Look at some of the favorite cosplays that I've ever done. I've also done a handful of videos and podcast episodes on this film as well, because it is the perfect film, and considering that it turned 25 last year, we are just getting so much coverage, especially with Scream 5, well, technically Scream, being released next week. So let's go back to what I said about how the characters remind us of, well, us. They reference horror film classics like Halloween, and we love Halloween. Even our main character, Sydney, calls out classic horror tropes.
Like scary movies.
What's the point? They're all the same. Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act, who's always running up the stairs when she should be going out the front door. It's insulting.
So, I don't know about you, but as a horror fan, I love seeing horror movies talk about other horror movies. Scream is just constantly calling itself out during the entire film. It was extremely self-aware, but it also felt very real. Casey is home by herself. She's about to watch a movie, she's making popcorn, and she gets that phone call. Sydney comes home after school, she's also alone, and she gets that iconic phone call. We can all probably remember a time that we've been left home alone and things have felt a little off. Maybe not so much anymore in my 30s, but I do remember when my parents would go out for like date night, or they'd be away for the weekend and I would be by myself and I was at home in charge and it was dark outside. Things definitely felt very spooky. Another way that these characters have made it feel like they are us is because they're dealing with real life shit. They're trying to grow up, figure out who they are, figure out who their friends are, figure out when they want to lose their virginity and things like that. Of course, there is a mass killer on the loose as well, which make things a little bit tougher. They're also dealing with things, especially Sydney and Billy, with their parents basically just like messing them up for the rest of their lives. Well, the rest of Sydney's life at least kind of follows her around her parents' mistakes. So I want to talk about Billy and Sydney's relationship that we see tragically play out on screen. And I've always wondered, do you think that Billy really liked Sydney? Personally, yes and no. I think that Billy used his charm to essentially lure Sydney closer to him so that he could seek his second revenge on her. I really don't think that their relationship was ever romantic. I think it was very much a surface level relationship with, of course, very sinister motives on Billy's side. I don't think that he really treated her the way that, say, Stu would treat Tatum, or Stu would have maybe treated Casey. I also think that Billy very much planned his relationship with Sydney. And as we all know, Billy, with the help of Stu, murdered Maureen, who was Sydney's mom, for the affair that Maureen had with Billy's father, essentially breaking apart their marriage. And after he murdered Maureen, he wasn't satisfied. And in his warped, psychotic, mentally ill brain, he needed to get rid of Maureen's child as well. He was blaming Sydney for what her mother did when Sydney was the innocent one in all of this. Speaking of not innocent though, we have Stu Macher. So Stu is essentially what we all would become as horror fans if we decided to fully unhinge ourselves. Stu is a horror movie fanatic, he's very sensitive, and he's friends with some questionable people in high school. Kind of sounds like me, maybe not so much you, but you get my point. So we all know Stu is this very eccentric, weak-willed best friend of Billy. Another interesting and kind of moment that we know about Stu is that he really didn't have a motive for helping Billy. We did get a mention of he felt he was peer pressured into doing it. And I would like to argue that Stu might have been a little bit more psychotic than Billy, but maybe only by a little bit. Also, do you guys think that Stu's gonna be in the new film? Let me know in the comments. So let's widen this web and talk about some other fan favorites. And I wanna move on to Gayle Weathers. We all know Gayle as a Spitfire reporter and writer who will go to any lengths to get a good story. She also wrote a book basically stating that Sydney was confused as to who killed her mother and that Cotton Weary was innocent. Spoiler alert, of course, we know that Cotton was innocent. It was actually Billy who had Cotton's jacket on. Also, I think it's time for us to finally decide and conclude that Gayle Weathers is also a final girl alongside Sidney Prescott. I understand, at least in Scream, that we are destined to not like Gayle because of what she put Sidney through. She's constantly shoving herself in front of Sidney with microphones and lights and cameras. But by the end, she does come to Sidney's side, at least for a small distraction in the final scenes. Looking from my point of view now watching the film, Gayle is ambitious and she's career driven, and she has a lot of strength and vulnerability. As the dawn broke after the final confrontation at Stu's house and the truth comes out, Gayle immediately grabbed her microphone. She didn't even miss a beat and she started reporting on what happened. So now I want to talk about Dewey. Dewey is probably one of my favorite characters in the horror universe and in the movie world. And he has proven himself over and over again in the sequels to this film, but since we're focusing on just Scream, we are introduced to him as this kind of annoying older brother of Tatum and a fresh-faced cop who falls for Gayle Weathers. Fun fact, Dewey was actually supposed to die in the first Scream after he got stabbed in the back by Ghostface, but Wes Craven liked his character so much that he kept it in. We as horror fans also really enjoy Dewey as well, which is why he was left in the films and is still there now. He was and is Sidney's protector and almost like an older brother as well. David Arquette's charming performance as Dewey adds layers to it and gives a soul to the film. Another fantastic thing that I love about this film is that we get the iconic horror movie rules from none other than Randy Meeks. He explained to us and his friends in the film how to survive a horror movie.
Jesus Christ, you don't know the rules?
Have an aneurysm, why don't you?
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. For instance, number 1, you can never have sex. Big no-no! Big no!
We're dead now.
Even impossible. Sex equals death, okay? Number 2, you can never drink or do drugs. No, the sin factor. It's a sin. It's an extension of number 1. And number 3, never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back.
You see, you push the laws and you end up dead. Okay, I'll see you.
Another thing that I love about Scream is that it ignited such other horror classics like I Know What You Did Last Summer, The Faculty, and Urban Legend. I really feel like the horror genre is always reinventing itself, and this is what Scream was able to do. Scream and its sequels made it okay for horror movies to be smart, scary, and funny all at the same time. Wes Craven was able to deconstruct this entire genre and light a new fire. When we got the release of Scream in 1996, we didn't really know what was going to happen, or at that time the horror fans and production companies had no idea the impact that it was going to have. Maybe it did. But considering we are getting a brand new movie next week, I have to say they know what they were doing. You can also tell that Wes Craven paid attention to little details, like the background actors. He made sure that every single person was engaged and ready to tell the story of Scream, and the story that was happening inside Woodsboro High School. The fact that this horror movie took us on a journey, and we went along with the mystery as the friends tried to figure out who was behind Ghostface Mask. In my opinion, there's never been a film quite like this one, but I could be biased because I love Scream. So to wrap up this video, I wanted to share with you my anticipation of seeing the film next week in theaters. I've never seen a Scream film in theaters, so this is going to be really iconic for me. And I hope that each and every one of you who want to see it get to see it as well, safely, as soon as possible. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that it was entertaining. I feel like this was the best way for me to come back to YouTube, considering how much this film means to me. And I'll see you guys soon with a new video, some new content, and you can follow me over on my socials if you want to. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!